Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Dawngate? Well, it claims to be an open beta right now, but as we're well aware, open beta means very little in the free-to-play space. It is currently charging via its microtransaction store, and more to the point, it's past version 1, so as far as I'm concerned, it is past due time to actually have a look at it. Whether or not you decide open beta means anything is really up to you, but the point is you can download free and just begin immediately, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. So what is it? It is a Dota-style game, and it is by a company called Waystone. It doesn't have a huge amount of history behind it, and it was picked up by EA for publishing, and I would imagine the easy way of looking at that would be to say, oh yeah, well, EA didn't have a MOBA or Dota game, whichever you prefer. They needed one, so they found one that was in production that looked promising, and they decided to publish it so that they could actually get their foot in the door. Seems like a reasonable way of doing things. So the question is it any good? I think every time we look at a MOBA or Dota-style game, whichever you prefer to call it, then the thing you have to ask is, how is this game relevant when there are over 7 million active monthly players for Dota 2, and if Riot is to be believed, over 65 million for League of Legends? How do you get into a market that has that huge a player base? You can see why you'd want to. That's a huge potential amount of money that's on offer there, but how do you break the dominance of those games? It's very difficult to do. Many games have tried, many games have failed, and most of the time, the games that actually built a community for themselves and did okay are the ones that did things significantly differently. Things like Smite, things like Awesome Naught, and then of course there are other games like Super Monday Night Combat that tried it and fell by the wayside, so even doing something different is not a guarantee of success. It's a risky business. So, we will go into the game and we will explore exactly what this game does differently or whether or not it's worthy of your time. So, firstly, we're going to jump to the collection, which will start wonderful music. For some reason, there's no main menu music, but a lot of the other stuff here actually has music. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So, let's talk first about business model, shall we? So it uses the League of Legends model, as in you have a free hero rotation, and you can buy heroes with either the in-game currency Destiny or the out-of-game currency Waypoints. How much does a hero cost? Well, this is the newest hero. She is called Mina. She costs 685 Waypoints or 1,800 Destiny. I've done about 12 matches, so I've played, give or take, for about 9-10 hours prior to doing my first impressions here. And that's how much Destiny I have earned up to this point. It can be a little bit random as to what you get, because the way that you earn Destiny is a little unusual, and I'll explain that later. So it would take a little while, certainly, to unlock one of these heroes. There's no real doubt about that. You, of course, get things like wins of the day bonuses, and so on and so forth. You want to buy a hero, do it via Waypoint. So hopefully you'll be able to see this screen. Sometimes when it opens browser windows, that doesn't actually work. So that's worth bearing in mind. But what I'm seeing on the screen right now is 450 Waypoints for $5, 925 for 10, 2,000 for 20, 3,600 for 35, and 5,200 for 50. Once again, a bit of an annoying system. I don't like it when games do this. I didn't like it when Riot did it. I don't like it when Waystone does it. The idea of you buying this currency that is kind of designed in such a way that you can't spend all of it at any given time. I find that very irritating indeed. Unnecessarily so. The cost of a hero is not 450 Waypoints. It's not $5. If it was, that would make sense. It's this weird number, 685, which doesn't really divide well into any one of these denominations here. So that's pretty irritating. How much does a hero cost? Well, you do the basic mathematics on it. You're looking at about maybe $6.50, $7, depending on how many Waypoints you buy at any given time, because obviously you're going to be getting bonuses every time you do that. And of course, you can buy it with PayPal, your EA account balance, or various different credit cards. Said it before, I am pretty much okay with this system when it comes to buying heroes and going with the free rotation. It's strange. Over the last few years, we've had a major shift in public perception. It used to be the case that League of Legends was viewed as one of the fairest free-to-play models that existed, and a lot of companies tried to model based on that, because the community and the gamers in general were saying, yeah, well, this is fair, this is the right way to do free-to-play. And then suddenly, over the last year or so, I think, things have really changed. I think maybe it's because of Dota 2, but of course, we should bear in mind that Dota 2 is really the only game doing that outside of Heroes of Newerth, and the only reason Hon's doing it is because they went through 2 different business models prior to that, and their company's already working on their second-generation Dota-style game anyway. It's very hard for a company to survive using that business model, so unless you're Valve and you're willing to take the risk of being a loss leader, and maybe, you know, you get lucky, or indeed you're Valve where you don't need luck and you're able to just be successful with a major property, it's difficult to say whether or not any of these games would go down that route, and I don't blame them for that. Honestly, I really don't. Okay, so let's have a look at the hero selection. This screen is actually quite good because you're able to filter in a really big way. So let's say I wanted to find Shapers that were bruisers. So Shaper is the name of hero in this game. But I want ones that have disabling properties. Okay, so all of these. And I also want to know how much I have to pay for them, whether or not I own them, or whether they're in the free rotation. Like if I want this is the guy that's in the free rotation that does this, you know? He is a bruiser, disabler that is currently in the free rotation. So you can actually put a lot of filters on. I mean, you can even dive as far into saying, I only want heroes from the east in this world region. You know, so basically it's lore-based there. So I could play one of these two if I wanted bruisers who could do that. And that's crazy. You know, that's actually an interesting commitment, I think, to the idea that some people are really into the lore, and they have said, you know, Waystone have said they're really dedicated to the lore. They're putting out this regular graphic novel about the game to really explain what the lore's all about, and they have some interesting hero design, frankly. It seems very Eastern inspired, I've got to say. Very much so. You know, a lot of Asian-looking characters, or Asian-influenced characters in some way. I think you can see that kind of being blindingly obvious. There's your kind of monk style, also kind of monk style there. There's some very interesting mage designs. The King of Masks is a very cool design indeed. It's like Volok, who is really cool. The Desecrator I really like. He's kind of like this giant grave mound. Yeah, I mean, the hero design's pretty good, honestly. It's quite varied. It's got some silly ones like Dibs. Dibs is a rather silly-looking character, and also Moya, who appears to be an otter of some description, with a giant eel, because why the hell not? So fairly interesting. Like a nice little selection there. Good amount of design and thought put into them. Definitely not generic. So I'll give them credit for that. There are skins available, of course, as you're probably well aware. Not a huge amount immediately, although one that's absolutely fantastic is the skin for Desecrator. The Forge Fire Desecrator skin is just kind of great. Big fan of that. And of course you get a lot of information on the hero here as well. Now you might be wondering, you know, what's a carry? What's your marksman hero? What's your support? Well, that's where things start to get interesting, because up to this point I haven't really shown you too much that is different to other games in this genre. But what's very interesting is that the game actually has a role system, which allows you to select a role prior to playing and getting into your match, but you pick a hero first. So a lot of the heroes can really fulfill all of the major roles. You want to play a support, but you want to play your favorite hero as a support, you can. And the chances are you're going to be able to do it. Some are obviously better for the role than others, there's no doubt, but it seems like there isn't this huge drop-off in effectiveness, and you can just click the tactician role if you want to play as a support that isn't reliant on last hits. And what happens when you pick that role is it's going to give you a boost to the amount of gold that you gain from stuff dying around you. So you don't have to last hit. You actually gain bonus gold, not only for that, but for hitting enemy heroes. So basically you act as a harasser in the lane, which is pretty cool. If you pick a gladiator, you're going to gain more from last hitting than any other role is. And if you are a melee hero, you get an additional bonus, which is pretty cool. So they found a way of sort of balancing the idea of a melee carry and a ranged carry by giving certain bonuses to melee heroes to even things out. You play a hunter, that gives you a lifesteal against creatures in the jungle, and also a chance of proccing bonus gold every time you kill a jungle creep. So you can jungle with basically anybody in the game. Although, of course, some are better than others. And then, of course, finally, there is the Predator role, which is a ganker/roamer who gets the most from direct enemy kills and things like that. And there's no strict meta as to how many of those you have to have. We won a game with 4 tacticians and a jungler. We didn't have a single person that gained bonus from last hits, and we still managed to wipe the floor with the enemy team. So the whole way they're arguing this right now, they're actually marketing this as break the meta. That's their big marketing push right now. That's their tagline. And, well, the system is certainly interesting. And it may very well lead to a little bit more flexibility, and that has a number of effects, and I'll talk about that once I get into the game. Before I get into the game, though, let's look at the one other thing that you need to be looking at here, and that is the loadout system. So, loadouts are a little unusual. They are a twist on the way that League of Legends does runes. So there are two things, Spirit Stones, and then Sparks, which you socket into Spirit Stones. So these are Spirit Stones I currently have already. A green Spirit Stone of Power, I can put that here. Alright, and then maybe I twist this around and fit that in here. There we go, so we got ourselves a square. Alright, let's put that one there. Do we have anything else we can fit in there? Well, maybe we could twist that around just a little bit. Maybe we could do that, but it would leave a bit of space, so that's maybe not the best idea. Toss that out there, and we can put a couple of smaller squares there, and then maybe a lengthier thing down there. Nice, nice. You see where I'm going with this? It's a very interesting idea. It's kind of a Tetris-like system. Now, interestingly enough, there is also a different kind of Spirit Stone that just isn't just like this. The larger Spirit Stones that can be used to give yourself a unique passive going into the game, as you can see. So this is the one that I have. I think everyone gets this by default. Let's try and get out of this. There we go. The Duelist Spirit Stone. So we're just going to wipe this loadout for a second. You pick the Duelist Spirit Stone, toss that in there, and if I am able to socket this with the colors it's asking for, it's going to unlock a bonus. My basic attacks apply a stacking mark to the primary target, which deals some bonus damage. It actually scales with power as well. And it deals bonus damage for each stack, and it stacks up to 4 times, lasting 4 seconds. So this is particularly good if you happen to be someone who is focusing on doing damage to any enemy hero, probably some kind of ranged marksman-style character. But in order to make this work, I'm going to have to socket it with things that work, so I'm going to have to find some sparks. So these are the colors that it accepts, so I need maybe a green one here, green one here. Let's toss a little bit of haste in there, why not? And a couple of health, sparks, and one more haste. And now it's active. So now it works. I get this unique passive here. And I can still fit a couple of extra things in there. So if I want a bit more power, I can do that. Why not? Twist that around there as well. And one more. Cool. So there's a loadout, and this is what it does. And then I can save that. You can purchase additional loadout pages, which shouldn't really surprise you too much. But you get 3 by default, which is a pretty reasonable number. Yeah, so that's kind of neat. I like that. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Before we go into the game, let's have a look at the options menu. So, not too much on the graphics side of things, as you can see. Borderless window is available, so you can switch between that if you so desire. You can customize this if you need a bit of frame rate. It runs fine. I mean, I've never had any frame rate problems with the game, I've got to say. It runs really, really well. It doesn't run as well as League of Legends used to. I used to be able to get something ridiculous like 400 frames per second on that. But it is a bit of a better looking game, and obviously a little bit more modern, so it's to be expected. There's your audio sliders, separate for everything, which is always nice. In fact, they maybe even gave you a few too many. It's like, hey, you can down the UI and the ambience, and I like that. That's good. More games should be doing that. If you go to the game, then you can do things like turn off auto attacks, swap the minimap corner, show smartcast ranges, and turn off your your profanity filter if you so desire. A little bit light on the game options, honestly. Compared to what Dota offers and what League of Legends offers, that is not a lot. You know, so I hope that they add more UI customization going forward as they continue to patch and update the game. The UI customization in this game is particularly weak. Sorry, I'm a bit spoiled now on the Strife beta that has ridiculous UI customization, even in-game on the fly, which is incredibly impressive. So this isn't really too great. Key binding, so you are able to bind pretty much every key as long as you can go for a secondary key as well, and you can also use key combinations, which I think is pretty essential in this genre. Now, I wouldn't say the game defaults to smart casting, but QWER is on SmartCast initially. So you can swap it. You can just rebind this to QWER here instead of using the shift cast. I found this initially kind of confusing, at least until I'd beaten my first game. Then I realized, oh, it's SmartCast. So I've been playing it in SmartCast ever since, and I've actually been enjoying it in SmartCast an awful lot. I have had much easier time than perhaps I thought I would with the SmartCast system. So for those of you who don't know what SmartCasting is, basically you press the button, you hold it down, while the button is held, you move your mouse over the target and then you release. Now, that sounds clunky until you realize you could do that in a fraction of a second, yeah? If my mouse accuracy is already good, I mouse over the target, then just hit my Q, like, just press my button once, and it fires off the ability, which is much faster to do than hitting Q, aiming, and then clicking, yeah? And a lot of pro gamers use smart casting in a bunch of different Dota-style games. So, I like the system. Works pretty well. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but there you go. Alright, so, shall we begin? Let's jump in and show you exactly what's going on with this. You got your 3 types right now, group match, solo match, and custom. If you're looking for variety in terms of game modes, there are not that many. Not at all. There's currently only one map. You select your skill level, and then you create the game, and that is basically it. And which is a bit unfortunate. So you basically have a private game. If you're looking for different kinds of game modes, things that are primarily available in Dota 2 and Smite, there's a couple in LoL, but Smite and Dota 2 have more of them. There aren't any. This is the only mode currently available. So if you're looking for variety there, that is clearly not here yet. All right, let's queue up for solo and let us give this a shot, shall we? That seems like a good idea. As you can see in the corner, I've won 5 games. I believe I have lost about 5 or 6 as well. So currently I've got about 8 or 9 hours clocked into the game, which I feel is certainly enough to give you my initial first impressions. I don't think it's really possible to talk about the high-level stuff unless you've played hundreds and hundreds of hours. But if you're looking for information on high-level Dawngate, this would not be the channel to find it. I do first impressions. I'll show you what the game's about, give you some basic opinions, and then you can decide for yourself based on the info that I've given you. So once we get into the matchmaking, not only are you going to hear one of the best hero selection music tracks I've ever heard in my life. The music for this game is actually very, very good, by the way. But you're also going to see how the role system works, which is interesting. Okay, let's hopefully get into this game lobby quite quickly. It's the standard thing where everyone has to click accept, and then you're always afraid that it's him, it's that guy. That guy isn't clicking. It's always that guy. Seriously, I hate number 10. Every time. Every time number 10 does this. Very, very upsetting. Well, I guess we're going to be going back into the queue then. No, we're not. Wonderful. Number 10 delivered. Awesome. All right. So, here you see the number of heroes you have available. I've only unlocked one of them, because I love Renzo. Renzo is awesome. So I unlocked him, but outside of that, the hero selection right now for the free rotation is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 heroes on the free rotation. That's about 1/3 of the current hero lineup. So that's actually quite impressive. What are we going to play, you might ask? Well, we could play Desecrator. He's a bit of a badass. We could play Karg. I've never played him before. I'm thinking we might play Renzo. No one is jungling right now. That worries me. We could try to jungle, but I'm really bad at it. That concerns me. Could we jungle as Renzo? Jungle Varian? Maybe? Maybe. Probably bad. It's hard to say. Alright, we're going to attempt to jungle Varian. We need a jungler of some description. So, you see, I pick my role here. These are the 4 roles I was talking about. Gladiator, Tactician, Predator, and your Hunter. Hunter is a jungler. I gain healing for killing a jungle creature. I do 10% more damage to jungle creatures. I'm gonna pick my, oh, did I not save my... Oh, I did save it. There we go. I'm gonna pick Duelist as my loadout here. That could be quite useful. Why 2 junglers? Well, we can have 2 junglers. That's actually not a problem. You can. Well, I guess I'm not playing jungler then. Okay, shall I go Predator? Alright, well, we have 2 gladiators, so... No, I don't know. I could go Predator. I suppose I'm doing Predator then. Okay. You can actually go double jungler. That is possible. It is feasibly possible to go double jungling. Why? Because the jungle in this game is huge. It's actually only a 2-lane game, if you can believe that. But yeah, that was the role system in action, and us kind of trying to find our different roles. Really, unless you go 4 junglers, there doesn't seem to be a wrong answer. And it loads fast. Very fast. Even got a frame rate counter in the corner there. Okay, so I am going to be playing a Predator, which is going to give me a lot of money when I actually get kills on enemy heroes, so I need to be set up for that. So we're going to start off with Celerity Shell here. And, okay, Blink would be... Well, I already have a teleport, so Blink seems kind of pointless. Dispel, Tailwind is pretty good. Stagger might be good. Yeah, I can see Stagger working. That's slow. Yeah, why not? Okay. We'll certainly give that a shot. We already have 2 gladiators, so I want to be trying to roam. Now, the map is down the bottom here. You'll notice there are 2 lanes, and there is a big jungle. It's actually huge. This center area here is where the big boss monster called the Parasite resides. We'll talk about him when we get there. No doubt we'll either... Oh, damn, I just realized I ran off without buying any items. That was pretty stupid. I was sort of focusing on trying to tell you about this game. That was a mistake. Alright, we're going to teleport back. And recommended items. Hunger, and... There's a potion. Okay, great. Awesome. Panic, panic, panic. Alright, we shall begin over here. Now, as a Predator, I gain extra Vim, which is the in-game currency, for killing enemy Shapers, and for more assists. And I also gain it for killing Spirit Well workers, and I get more experience for that too. So, I want to try and hunt down those kind of things. What are the Spirit Wells? You actually see them in the corner there. That's a Spirit Well. This is an interesting little system that the game's got going on with it. With a Spirit Well, what you can do is you can take control of it, and if you are able to take control of it, it will actually allow you to gain passive Vim income. And killing workers also reduces the Vim income of the other team, which is kind of great. And it gives you money, which is also cool. Now, after 15 minutes, you can actually take direct control of the Spirit Wells. And once you do that, they'll lock for a certain period of time, and you'll gain bonus income. So you can do things like Worker Harass. It's actually kind of like StarCraft 2 in that regard. I might be noticing I don't have any mana. Actually, none of the heroes in this game have mana at all, which is an interesting way of doing things, certainly. They have no mana. It's a bit weird. But you got a lot of different energy systems. In this case, I'm a pure Shaper, meaning that it's just cooldown based. Otherwise, there are different things that modify it. Like, for instance, Renzo has something called Inspiration, which means that he builds up stacks of inspiration, and every time he gets to 5, it modifies his existing abilities, which is pretty cool. Alright, there we go. I still want to be trying to get last hits. I'm not sure if the King of Masks is actually playing a Gladiator. Would be good to know. Is he? Yeah, he's playing Gladiator, so I really shouldn't be taking last hits from him, but I don't really have much of a choice. We don't seem to have any Tacticians right now. I probably should have just played a Tactician, but playing this guy as a Tactician seems a little tougher than you might imagine. He's more of a last hitter, really. I guess we can share the last hits. I also need to really go and harass some enemy workers if possible. Yep, I would love to. Okay, where's Faris? Alright, he's there. Works for me. I'm trying to bait. I'm baiting. Come on. Where is he? Oh, he's not here. Okay, it's like, oh, kill him. Like, but he's not there. Oh, if only I hadn't missed that shot. Damn, I actually forgot my stagger. That could have helped a lot there. That would be good. Oh, well. I'm still a bit new to the game. You're probably aware that playing games like this does take a decent amount of practice to not suck at them. I'm gonna go harass the enemy workers, I think. This will give me a little bit of bonus gold, and I should be able to quickly fall back to the lane. One of their guys had to be anyway, so this seems reasonable. So here we are. We're at the Spirit Well, and these are enemy workers, and I actually gain bonus gold for killing them. So I'm absolutely going to do that. It's going to give me a bunch of experience as well. It's going to slow their passive Vim game down. If you look to the top of the screen as I'm doing this, what you will notice is that their overall Vim gain is decreasing. There we go. Okay, now I may have overdone it. I do have a teleport, so I'm probably going to have to end up using that to get out. Guess who also has a teleport? I'm going to use Stagger to slow him down, and then I can get out. There we go. Alright, well, I gained a good amount of gold for doing that, and I slowed down their gold income passively. Unfortunately, they're doing the same to us, but there you go. What about warding? Well, everyone gets a free ward that's on cooldown. Everybody. And you need it, because, as I said, the jungle on this is bloody huge! Ludicrously so. So, you had better be ready for that. Blink out of the way. There we go. So, warding is crucial. Very crucial. Oh, I missed the shot. That's disappointing. Could have turned that into a lot more. Might still turn this into a lot more. Oh. Thought our jungler was around. He is, but he's nowhere near, so never mind. Bit late. It's interesting to see just how the role system actually changes the way that you play. It does defy a few conventions here and there. Of course, every now and again, you're still going to want to be doing last hitting where you can, but you want to be doing things like roaming and killing enemy minions, killing their workers, which is not a usual way of doing things in games like this. In fact, I do need to start roaming, but all the lanes are pushed at the moment, so I'm probably better off just staying in lane for the time being and trying to get some kills. Hopefully our jungler will be around to allow it to happen. I'm gonna have to be soon, though. Alright, they've got a ward in that bush. I think I'm going to have to be. My health is way too low. So I'm going to jump out. Our jungle is currently down there, so hopefully when we get back, we'll be able to get ourselves a kill. I could maybe roam through the jungle and help top, actually. That might work. Okay, let's buy something. So, this gives us a great chance to talk about the item system. It is based on a 3-tier system. These are your basic items down here. There's more of that, of course, but, you know, this is just under my recommended. You then upgrade to a 2nd tier, which more often than not has a passive, not always, and then a 3rd tier, which has a unique passive, which is usually a very powerful item that will give you something that's very, very useful to your particular hero. There are no activatable items in this game outside of potions and flasks. That is it. Oh, Jungler seems to be doing okay down there. Except he's gonna die, but never mind. I'm gonna go and try and help out here. See if we can get a gank. They're pushed back to tower, so this would be an ideal time. Alright.
An enemy has been slain.
Oh, never mind. That did not work out the way that I'd hoped. At all. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Well, never mind. That was actually a completely reasonable bait. That went exactly as planned. I was just trying to trick you, of course. Oh, Jesus. That was close. Good lord. I didn't get out. But that worked pretty well. I got a lot for that. So, yeah, the item system's interesting. Again, if you're looking for activatable items, though, you're not going to find them, but if I get my Veracity, I get a unique passive called Rising Hunger, which deals damage with basic attacks. Well, dealing damage will grant me 6 power and 1% life drain, which stacks up. So, there's some very interesting items, and for the most part, they work on almost any hero. The stat system is quite homogenized, so almost every stat is useful in some way. And there's a lot of different things that you can gain access to. Alright, I'm gonna go back to the bottom lane here. Am I? Yeah, I'm behind in terms of experience. I'm not playing a very good Predator. I've got to say, this is actually the first time I've played Predator. It's a difficult role. I'm maybe not the hero that I need to be in order to do it properly. Alright. Oh, need to blink out there. And let's slow him. Come on, let's get him. Oh, we don't have enough firepower. Ah! Oh, ouch. And I almost died there as well, so that sucked. Pretty much spent the vast majority of my health to accomplish nothing. We did push them out of the lane, so I guess it's not the worst thing ever. Since they've been pushed out of the lane, it might be worth me trying to harass their worker line again, so I'm going to go do that up here. It doesn't take too much getting used to if you played a lot of League of Legends. It certainly takes more getting used to if you play Dota 2, because it definitely plays a lot more like LoL. I don't think there's even a question about that. Can't really help there. I don't think I actually have the health. But I am going to back off because I don't want to be killed. So I killed a few of their workers, slowed down their income, and got myself a bunch of money as well, so it's hard to complain. I might even hit the jungle over here, actually. I think I do have a little bit of life still, so wouldn't be too bad an idea to try for that. Ow. Apparently it was a bad idea to try for that. That is a big piggy. I'm clearly not equipped to deal with him. Well, I can go back in and maybe fire off my Chaos Shell, but then I'll probably have to back off. Ouch. Fire off my Flare just to keep an eye on them. Need to replant my ward as well. Haven't done that yet. Need to be really careful not to mess up. Our jungler is nearby. Oh, Christ. Okay, this is bad news. Bad news. Ooh. Well, we did a lot of damage to him, but it wasn't brilliant. I hit him with my ultimate, but he had no one nearby, so it didn't do too much. Oh, hello. This might be a thing. I think it is. It's gotta be a thing, surely. Come on. Oh, I didn't kill him. Disappointing. Man, I'm getting wrecked as a Predator. This might be something I don't want to do. The cool thing, I suppose, about the role system is that if you play Tactician, as far as I'm concerned, it is a much better role for newer players, because it doesn't rely on last hitting. And it basically relies on just being a nuisance, which newer players are alright at, you know. With a mana-less system, harass is very prevalent in this game, as you might imagine. So, it's often a very good idea to encourage a newer player, or indeed if you're a newer player that's not really confident with this genre, just to play Tactician, because you're going to passively gain, you don't have to worry too much about last hits, and it will be your job to try and help out someone that's a bit more experienced. And you feel more active than a lot of supports as well. You're not just going to sit there healing, you're going to be actively harassing constantly. which I think is a much more engaging way of getting newer players into the game without having them be critical to the team's success. So I do feel the role system is actually one of the strongest advancements that this game offers in terms of opening the genre up and making it a little bit less punishing, while still maintaining a strong sense of role definition and a good skill ceiling. And the game does have a decent skill ceiling. It's got a good amount of skill shots. It's got some interesting interactions. This hero not in particular, but there's quite a few heroes that have systems where you use one ability and then it combos with another, which increases the power of that ability. Which I think is a pretty good system overall. It works quite well, and it does encourage things like damage rotations and also some situational split-second decisions that you have to make. Like, well, do I want to use this ability now, but this ability also powers up this? Which of these do I want to go for? A great example would be that otter hero I was talking about. Alright, let's bait, let's bait, let's bait. I don't think we can bait. Maybe we can bait. Alright. Missed with the shot. Not looking good. Ow. Oh, I was hoping to bait. Alright, time to go. There's the shot. Blink out. And died anyway, but we did get a kill out of it. So we traded 1 for 1. I guess that's not too bad. Not awesome, but oh, we might get another one. Carolina, you are a scary individual. Diving right into the tower there. We might get it, though. Slice it, slice it. No, no. Oh, he's getting so greedy. Oh, 2 for 2. Okay. Reasonable, reasonable. Oh my. There's a couple of other things that are a little bit different about the way that this game works that I would certainly like to talk about. You'll probably get a chance to see it later on in the game. I'll most likely run out of things to say and then just start play-by-playing my experience. You know how things like this go. But the way that the Parasite works, so the Parasite is like an inhibitor rolled in with Roshan, Dragon, and Baron, all in one. The Parasite evolves throughout the game. You can kill it early for a nice little bonus, but the later you kill it, the stronger the buff is. So there's sort of this game of chicken between the two teams as to whether or not they will go for it early when they can, or whether or not they'll deliberately wait. And what it does is it spawns super minions and gives you a buff and gives you a bunch of gold. So it spawns these things called Striders, which are very, very powerful minions that will really help you knock down towers and actually make pushes happen. It's pretty cool. I don't think I want to go for that Spirit Well. I have too many people close by. I'm gonna ward this bush and then back off, I think. Seems like the way to go. So yeah, that's the only big creature on the map that's gonna give you a real buff in any way. I think, and I can't be 100% sure, I think there's like a kind of blue and red buff. I saw some creatures with auras in the jungle, but frankly, I basically never jungle, so I've never had the chance to see those creatures in action. But the only seriously big one... Well, that was a pointless ult. The only seriously big one is the Parasite. You might notice a lot of the heroes are very mobile, and yeah, a lot of them actually are. And if they're not mobile, they've probably got a fairly reliable stun. I have a little teleport here, which requires a decent amount of work in order to actually nail it. I can very easily mess it up, and I frequently do, as you have to place it on the ground and then hit W again to teleport directly to it. Risky, risky, risky. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Alright, that's unfortunate. As you can see, this actually does damage to people nearby, so I was hoping for that to be a bit better, but we got the pick off. That's alright. Not too bad. Yeah. Oh, you blinking son of a... Maybe we can get him. I don't know about that. I have a feeling this is a top. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, we're gonna get more here. We're gonna get absolutely more. Yeah! Alright, and we're stealing a Spirit Well as well. I mean, this could not have gone any better if we tried. This is a pretty huge swing in momentum here. Not only do we get a ton of bonus gold, but we're gonna deny them gold as we go forward and give ourselves a passive boost. And obviously, me killing that stuff is gonna help me out a great deal, so this kind of gets me right back into the game. Happy about that. Might even try and take some jungle creeps now that I'm a little tougher. You might notice a spell system. So, these are like summoner abilities. But you gain... Which one do I want to do? I'm liking this one. Let's put Wither. I'm just trying to get Disabler style abilities right now. You get up to 3 spells which you can use. And you can decrease the cooldown on them. And you can pick pretty much whatever you want during the game. You don't pick them before the game. You pick them as the game goes on. Which is pretty neat. And there's a decent selection kind of in that spell book, and if I recall correctly, I think it's even possible to... Damn, it evaded. That sucks. If I drag it out too far, it'll do that. There we go. Problem solved. Could probably hit it from here, but it's not going to benefit me in any way, so... Oh, screwed the warp up. Not good. Just send a shell over there. Try and keep an eye on him. Yeah, you got a decent amount of flexibility there. I believe it's actually even possible to swap them out if you're back at the locus. Okay, I guess we're fighting. Oh, no, we don't want to be doing that. I don't know what just hit me, but it hurt a lot. So I'm not helping here. I'm leaving. I am out of here. We'll check as we go back and see if we can swap out our stagger. Because it says out of range of locus here. And we'll see what happens. There we go. Can I actually swap this out? I can. I can unlearn it, but it does cost money. So you can even swap out your summoners during the game if you happen to have the right amount of cash. I wanted dominance, but I haven't been able to get it as of yet, so I'm going to have to keep saving for it. No couriers or anything along those lines, so if you're looking for that, it isn't there. Although, I don't know if... It's weird, they took the sustain metagame almost out entirely, with the exception of your health. You don't have many ways to regenerate health in a big way. The potions are not that effective, so really it's a case of just avoiding as much harass damage, not taking too much damage, rather than having to go back because you've run out of mana or anything along those lines. So that's what gets you to go back to base, that and buying items. It's an interesting little system. Now, aesthetically, this game's kind of pretty. I think a lot of people will immediately be saying, oh, it looks like LoL. I don't think it does. It looks more like LoL than it does Dota. I will happily admit to that, no doubt. But they've got way more pastel colors going on here. I've said many times before that I believe there's it's kind of a just color vomit kind of game going on with League of Legends. It's very, very, very colorful all the time. They seem to have muted that a little bit. It's more pastel shades. Although they definitely went with the more cartoony or graphic novel style. It has, as I mentioned, a big Asian influence, which is indicative in the aesthetic as well. So it definitely looks a little less cartoony, although not completely so, as a direct result of that. Oh, hit him with the Chaos Shell. Ah, no finish, though. Again, I should have used the Summoner there. That would have been a good idea. Should have used one of these. I like the hero design in particular, actually, in that regard. Even the minion design looks very unusual in the way they do the towers, which are called bindings, which actually respawn if you leave them for too long, by the way, so that's worth making note of. We have all 4 Spirit Wells. This is great. We're earning 64 passive gold a minute as a direct result of having that. That's the binding up there. I'll be a little bit careful with how I engage against this. I do want to try and take it down if I can. Might be taking a few too many risks. Oh, time to leave. Ow, 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 ow. But I'm okay. There we go. The coolest thing about the way that the towers work is actually the Guardian. And once... yeah, we're not going to be able to hold that. We're going to have to concede that. That's the Guardian. He's a bit of a beast. So instead of towers in the main base, the Guardian has these different pods. Now, they do different things, and a fully charged Guardian with all his pods alive not only can't be killed because he has a shield, but he is basically a boss monster. He throws out tons of waves of abilities, like he's got a big eye laser, he throws out almost like a bullet hell worth of these stun orbs and spells and things like that. So, on his own, he is a beast. He is a real beast. So if they get in your base and they don't dodge those abilities, you can rapidly find that they will die horribly. Which is an interesting way of going about things. You know, usually once the enemy's in your base, you're probably dead. Actually, when the enemy's in your base in this game, they might be dead if they overextend. And that can give you those huge opportunities to get a team wipe and actually get the game back in your favor. That stuff also regenerates as well. So once a pod is destroyed, the Guardian will lose the associated ability. But, and I'm going to start warding the Parasite now, actually, because I think this is around the time of the game where people might actually want to do something with it. Flunk out of range of him. Ow, 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 ow. Slowed him down a little bit. Well, we got the kill. But I was hoping to get it myself. Never mind, we get our dominance now, so that's cool. Not too shabby. Yeah, it does enough differently to be worthy of your attention, in my opinion. It's very polished. It runs well, it's got a good hero variety, and from the start, you get a lot of different heroes in the rotation. I do not know if they will reduce the number of heroes in the rotation when they actually go to launch. Ideally hope that they will not. I think the way they are currently doing it is very, very good. And I think they should continue to do that. It's really heartening to see you go into a game, it's like, oh, there's like 11 heroes I can play right off the bat. That's really, really good. That's a good number. That's a nice number. It gives you a lot of variety. And I think there's less of a problem where you just don't have the appropriate heroes for a composition because of the role system. You can play a lot of heroes in very different ways. Although that does have a downside, in the sense that the items that you buy via the recommended system are not necessarily right for the role that you're playing. So I think you need to know more about the items in this game and look up different builds. And honestly, that hasn't evolved too much yet because the game's still in beta. So it's hard to say which items you should be buying, although they are fairly intuitive once you read up on what the unique passives are. So it makes sense, like, oh, right, well, you know, I'm playing a ganker, I really want this unique passive that's going to apply this slow, or, you know, things like that. So it makes maybe more sense than it initially appears, but I do think that role system does have its downside in terms of the actual learning curve. It's like, yes, you can play pretty much any hero anyway, but you can't play any of them well until you really learn what item setup you should have, and they don't have They don't have an in-game system for loading in builds, or like, say, Dota or Smite or anything like that, so it can be difficult to learn a build for a character outside of the recommended items, which are usually fine, but more often than not, you might want to actually try and get a build that is specific to the role you're trying to play. Alright, I don't think we can capture this right now. I'm pretty sure it's locked. Enemies are coming in our direction. Okay, here we go. And missed with the ultimate because I'm terrible. Alright, here's the blink. There's the slow. Yeah. That did the job. Excellent. Missed with the ultimate, though, which is definitely disappointing. I'm digging it. And let me tell you what I think the biggest benefit to... Well, the biggest benefit, I suppose, of playing this game in the solo queue environment is versus other titles, yeah? I said many times before, I hate solo queuing in games like Dota. I really, really hate it in Heroes of the Storm. I think it might very well be the worst game for that ever, because it's so objective-focused. It's really, really rough. Nope. This could still be rough, but I think we might have him here. I think he's overextending pretty badly. Yep, there's the damage, and down he goes. Sweet! Very nice. They're all difficult in solo queue. It can be a very unpleasant experience. I think there's two things that make this game a better solo queue title than those other things that I just mentioned. Yeah? One! Oh, Jesus. This might get bad. No, I'm okay. Almost took the binding out. Okay, one. The karma system. So I was talking about karma earlier. When you end a game, you get a drop. Now, that drop depends on how well you did in the game, but a lot of how good that drop is based on how much karma you were given by your other players. At the end of the game, you get to give karma to people, and generally speaking, you want to give it to the people that have done well and that have really contributed. And you can't leave that screen either. You get about 15 seconds to give out karma, and you're pretty much forced to stay on that screen. So you give your karma out, and the more karma you get, the higher tier reward you're given, which can be anything from just a bunch of destiny points all the way through to some different spirit stones and sparks and unique stuff like that. It's a pretty cool system, and it encourages people to not be dicks to each other, because if you are a dick, less people are giving you karma, which means you get a less cool reward at the end of it. Good way of doing things. Second thing, which is even more important than that, the role system means that it's hard to screw up your team composition. And roles are very flexible. So the strict meta that can really screw you over when you say someone like refuses flat out in League of Legends to play the right role, and then your entire game is a waste because you can't play properly. That game doesn't really have that problem. And people are less crazy about the meta as a result. Ah. It wasn't ready. How disappointing. So, really, like, team comp is not as important. So you can play effectively with some weird stuff. And maybe it's just because the game isn't that well developed yet, but I dig that. Alright, we're in the base. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I'm gonna... Put down my teleporter. Slow her down. Blaster. Blaster. There we go. And this is bad. Okay. There's the slow. Maybe one more. Yeah, yeah. Sweet. Very cool. So it's now like my preferred solo queue game. I play Heroes of the Storm in 5-man stacks because I think that's really fun, and now I'm playing Dawngate as my solo queue game, and I've had a couple of rough games where people have been dicks. It's a Dota game. You're gonna find those kind of people. But for the most part, it's been a pretty enjoyable experience, and people have been helpful because they know there's something in it for them if they are. I'm gonna go capture this and kill ourselves a bunch of these minions and get ourselves a bunch of bonus money. That's what we like to see. I'm gonna pop down a ward here as well to make sure that we know what's coming. Get the capture while a few of them are down. Could maybe think about going for the parasite here, actually. Oh, let's go to the center. We might catch someone here.
Your team has captured a spirit well.
Or maybe not. Well, we tried. I would agree. We should absolutely hit that parasite. At least once we can get maybe another team wipe or 3 down. That would be brilliant.
Is under attack.
Is there anything I don't like about it? Well, it's missing features mostly. It's basic UI elements that are maybe not all that well designed. It looks fairly similar to the way League of Legends does its UI, although I think it's fairly predictable that similar style games are going to have similar style UIs. Is there anything you could really do better? Well, customization. Making it easier to block people, make it easier to ignore people. It does have a pretty cool communication system. When you hold down Alt and then drag in a particular direction, you get this kind of context-sensitive command rosary, which I like. I think that's pretty effective. You can do that on the map as well. So, communication's pretty good there. There's quite a lot of chatter between the heroes as well, which, while it's great for the flavor, it can also actually be quite good in terms of getting useful information. Let's jump this guy. Get out. Not having you steal this. Absolutely not. Ours. This is all ours. And Parasite is ours. There we go. And a nice boost we get from that, too. This is the Parasite buff, the Greater Parasite Essence that we get. Big health regen and power bonus. The UI could definitely use some work. There's no voice communication in the game, which is something they may need to consider doing. There is a decent amount of context-sensitive stuff, as I showed earlier, but voice comms is always nice to have access to. I'm trying to think if there's just anything else that kind of immediately sprung out at me. The games can drag on a little bit. I think maybe it's the size of the map, or maybe it's just the low level that we're playing at. And I'm used to these Heroes of the Storm games now that are done in 15-20 minutes. You're still going to find those 30 to 40 to 50-minute games going on with this title, which some of you might not dig. So if you're looking for a quicker experience, this is not it. There we go. Have some of that right in the center of them with the Chaos Bolt. That's going to do a lot of AoE damage. That's what we like to see. Fire forward with my flare so we can keep an eye on them. So they haven't done much to fix that. And since there's no denies or anything like that, you're still going to find those very heavy lane phases where it's just harass, 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 harass. That goes on quite a bit. But there's more flexibility because of the jungling, because of the Predator role that's designed to roam the map and kill off and harass the worker line. That's a nice little twist, I think. Nice little twist to the formula. And I don't think you can completely reinvent this genre. I think it is a very iterative genre. It's kind of turning into the MMO situation where people are trying to iterate, or people trying to iterate on WoW, and maybe it wasn't too successful, and now people are trying to iterate on League of Legends and Dota. Ow! That's unpleasant, but might still be able to do alright. But it's solid for what it is. You know? If you're a Dota player, you're probably not going to want to play it. I'm going to be honest about that. It's like, oh hey, you know, it's yet another game in this genre. Or maybe you just play League of Legends and he's like, well, why would I play this over LoL? And that can be a tough decision to make, especially if you've built up a lot of stuff on your account. Most people are not going to leave those games, but if you're sort of in between Dota style games right now, you might want to give Dawngate a shot, actually. I've been having a good amount of fun with it so far. It seems like it's a good team behind it. They've got a good head on the shoulders. They're not doing anything too crazy. The business model is not that ridiculous. I still think they should abandon the waypoint system. I think it's terrible. Anyone that does that kind of fake currency and then makes it deliberately into denominations that don't properly divide by the number of heroes you can buy is pretty silly. I think that needs to be dealt with. I just prefer to pay... Just have a price. Just give me a price. Don't give me a fake fun money price. Certainly needs more skins and more customization and things like that, and definitely more game modes. You know, this is the only game mode, which puts it hugely behind a lot of the current games in this genre right now. Definitely sucks, but it's got a lot of promise, and I am enjoying it a great deal. And down goes that enemy guardian. There's the GG, and that allows us to wrap up the video by showing you how the karma system works. And yes, indeed, we're going to be giving karma to everybody. Everyone on the team was great. Everybody. Everybody was brilliant. So we're going to give karma to everybody on the team. So you get this little karma screen and this wonderful music. The composer for this game is a severely talented individual, I gotta say. You can actually check out a couple of the tracks on the Dawngate SoundCloud. I'd recommend you do. They're really, really good, just general listening music. I did okay there. 4-2. Definitely could have done better. I think Bigger Reeler carried us to all high heaven there. No doubt about that. I definitely played the worst out of these guys. So I'm going to give karma to everybody. So this is how the system works. You get this rating based on whether you win, the length, how you performed, first win of the day bonus. There we go. So that picks me up there. First win of the day. Karma bonus. Yeah, I get Astral, so this is almost, well, obviously you get all the way to Divine, it's amazing, but you get this. This is an Astral Egg. You open the egg, and it gives you a reward. And it's going to give me Destiny, and it's going to give me a couple of Spirit Stones. And that's kind of awesome, so very cool. You don't have to pick as well, you just get all of them. There's the reward. So there you go. There you go. That's a game of Dawngate. You can download it for free, if you wish. I'll put the link in the description below this video. And personally, I feel it actually has a great deal of promise. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's going to be my solo queue game for a little while, I think. It's certainly more attractive than playing games like Dota or even Smite in solo queue outside of the fun modes. It's certainly not going to be taking over the Dota-style game scene overnight. And let's be honest, Dota 2 is still the best deal in town. It's always going to be the best deal in town. But on its own, I think it's a strong contender with a lot of its own interesting ideas. Nice spin, nice theme, and a slick, tight game that is enjoyable to play. So, it's free. Give it a shot. Why not? But it doesn't have a tutorial. Just bear that in mind. And if you watch me for a tutorial, I apologize to all of your teammates going forward. You might want to try and find one on YouTube. It can get a bit rough, but there you go. Dawngate, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to play another round. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.